Hello, friends. So, talking about the space sector, the Indian space sector, which has largely been dominated by the government system and the PSUs, Indian Space Research Organization has been leading our researches and all, and they have fairly succeeded in terms of launching vehicles, in terms of production of launching vehicles and launching satellites, and even we have reached Mars and Moon. Now, recently, the government has taken a historic decision to open the space sector to private players. And that happened in the context of our understanding that the demand of the market size of the demand of putting the satellites and getting data in terms of GIS data and other in all of the fields that will be expanding exponentially in the coming years. For instance, as of now, the market size in India, it's the space sector, the size is $300 billion, which is expected to increase 10 times to $3 trillion by 2045. So we see how the market is going to be growing 10 times in terms of demand of space based products and information data. That is something which requires private players to intervene, come up, bring in innovation and technology, and meet this demand. So, in that context, we understand that private players have now been invited to engage in the sector. And the government has recently announced the launch of an interface body that is the that is a body called InSpace, which will be an interface between ISRO and private players. The objective of the body will be to regulate the private players in a way and promote them and give them a level playing field to operate in the space sector. They are provided the launch vehicles of the ISRO as required, or they are being guided on the requirements, information. They are being connected with whatever existing ecosystem in space we have. So in that context, the in-space body will be critical in growth of the sector. Now the private players, we see a lot of, earlier it was largely limited to supplying uh, hardware and other subsystems to ISRO in the space capacity, space sector, which was a few firms like L&T, Godrej Space, and all of these were there in terms of supporting ISRO. Now it is with this opening up, this announcement, and with this growing demand of space-based data and technology, we see a lot of startups are coming up in this space. We have seen that in the last couple of years, a lot of startups have come up. We have Skyroot Aerospace, then we have Pixel, which is started by Bits Pilani Passouts. Then we have a few more startups in Bangalore and Mumbai-based Kawa Space and all of those. And they are tying up with international and national agencies in order to innovate and create satellites and launch them as well with the help of existing players. That ways, the idea is to set up their own constellation of satellites in the space and then get accurate data of, let's say, agriculture space or the climate space within Earth or oil and gas reserves. So many data will come up, and accordingly, decisions making will be faster and more accurate. So with that idea, a lot of constellations are being launched to the low Earth orbit. So those developments have started, and this government's acceptance of private players in the space sector is an accelerator to that, and that will lead to strengthening our overall space sector and meet the demands, growing demands. A lot of capability of the state space sector is still unknown, and once we have these private players, these innovators, technology will improve, and India can think of leading in this sector as well. As we have today big companies like SpaceX and other companies in US and some in China as well. Here in India also it is time that we have our own homegrown companies which become leaders in the space sector in the times to come. So it is an important step and a lot is being banked upon these developments. Thank you.